Hi guys, it's Corrine here with another entry into the My Crush book. The My Crush book is not all about my crush. It's actually the name of the book sold by Close to My Heart. And the one that I'm using is the Bluebird book. So if you're interested, I'll put the person's information that I got this book from down in the description box below. Here I am marking from down from the top of the page at 5 inches and at 8.5 inches. And I'm just marking a straight line across to cut a guide that I can use to hopefully cut straight. So again, that's 5 inches and 8.5 inches down from the top. I'm using my scallop scissors that I got probably 10 years ago from Michaels. I paid $2 for them at the time, excuse me. And they're not the sharpest scissors, but they work pretty well. And it does help to have a guide to follow. Otherwise, I always cut crooked with these. I asked on Facebook a little while ago if you guys prefer voiceovers or music, and I received such a mix of a lot of people preferred voiceovers and a lot of people preferred music. So I figured what I would do is on the pages that I think need a little bit more explanation, I would do voiceovers for. Otherwise, if it's pretty self-explanatory, then I will do music, but you're always welcome to leave me a comment to ask any questions on any of my videos. So there I just went ahead and erased my pencil lines, and here I'm just cleaning up a few rough edges. The piece that I cut out I'm going to save because I'm going to use a portion of it a little bit later. This is a piece of vellum. I got the vellum from Hobby Lobby, and the brand of it is the Paper Studio, which is Hobby Lobby's brand. It's pretty nice vellum. I'm really happy with it. I cut it down to 5 by 7. The width of the My Crush books are 7 inches. So I'm going to punch holes in it and actually add it right to the binding. I didn't have to do that. I could have adhered it just to the papers, but I would rather do it this way. Um, you can also, I show you here that you can use a regular hole punch to do the same thing. You just want to cut slits into it and adhere it right to the binding. The Smashbook, I also use Smashbooks as well. The Smashbook binding is a little bit different. So with the Smashbook, you would just have to measure out the binding pieces and then mark your holes from there and cut them. I'm using a little bit of Scotch Quick Dry to adhere the paper to the vellum. I'm trying not to use too much so it doesn't ooze out everywhere. Because although it dries clear with vellum, you would see it regardless. I have a piece of chipboard behind there that I'm using so I can push down on it and doing the exact same thing to the top here, just adding a little quick dry. And I'm using the next page as my guide to make sure that it all um, lines up evenly. And once I know that it's lined up, then I'll put that piece of chipboard back so I can push down hard on it to make sure it is adhered well. Now here I'm using a Heidi Swapp stamp that says family. Had I thought about it, I should have stamped it before I ever adhered it down, but it ended up turning out okay. Being that I'm stamping on vellum, I wanted to use my StazOn ink in jet black, and I'm stamping it off a few times just to make sure I get a good impression. I add a foam piece, and this piece I got from Joann's years ago in the stamp department, but you could also use a mouse pad or a magazine behind it. It just has enough give that it gives a perfect impression usually. I touch this with my heat gun quickly to help dry it along, but I don't want to stay on it too long because it will warp the vellum. So I'm just going to let it dry and I'll work around it. This heart piece I cut from the silhouette using Simple Story Snap collection. And here's a scrap piece of paper that I have in the chevron from Bramble and Rose by My Mind's Eye. I love that paper, so I wanted to use that scrap piece up. I'm using my ATG gun to adhere to, or to add adhesive to the back of the photo and the paper. I get asked why I use so many different adhesives, and I have my um, different reasons. ATG is a strong adhesive, and I love it, but it is expensive, so I try and use it sparingly. And Scotch Quick Dry I love. It dries clear, it's strong, it dries quick, and my glue gun I love, but I will never use glue gun behind a photo unless I'm adding chipboard first because it will burn through a photo. And if you use it behind paper, it'll leave bumps in it. So I never use it behind just regular paper, but I will use it behind chipboard because it's a very strong adhesive. That word remember I cut from the Cameo. And this piece here was just I had in my stash. Same with the arrow and the bow. I tend to, when I cut things out from my Cameo, I cut extras and I just have a bin that before I do a scrapbook page or a smashbook page or pretty much anything, I go through that bin and see what scraps I can use. Like this one here, this says Happy Day, and I just cut out banner shape on each side. And here you'll see me add a little hot glue behind it because because of all the different layers, it wasn't staying down real well. So again, I used hot glue behind this piece as well because it'll hold all the pieces behind it. The hot glue gun that I use is the Aleene's hot glue gun from Michaels. I used a coupon for it. And this here, I am obsessed with bows lately. Bows and hearts for some reason. I cut that out from a Cameo, but I have cut them out in the past without using the Cameo, so I will try and do a tutorial on that soon, showing how you can cut them out yourself without using a Cameo. And I added a couple enamel dots to that banner piece up there. The hearts here I designed and cut out from the Cameo as well, adding some Scotch Quick Dry behind it. And you'll see that I got some Scotch glue on the top of it, but that's why I love it. Once it dries, you don't even notice it. So I'm going to use those extra hearts here and put them up at the top of the photo just to bring that color in again up at the top. And then I go over the hearts and the word remember with the Wink of Stella pen in clear. And I believe I added 2 coats. It gives it just enough glitter without being overwhelming. I try and give you a little bit close up here in a minute. Hopefully it'll catch the light so you can see what that looks like. And it dries almost instantly. Hopefully you can see that there. Then I wanted to add a few more enamel dots in that coral or orange color and bring that's in the paper up at the top. I wanted to bring that towards the bottom. So I'm using the Teresa Collins He Said, She Said collection of enamel dots, and I'm adding a few at the bottom here, and then I'll add 2 up at the top as well. Then on the back, I wanted to show you how I just covered up where the vellum border was so you don't see that vellum and the glue that's behind it. I'm just using a piece that I cut off from the original piece, and being that it already had the holes there, it lines up perfectly. I'm just going to use some Scotch Quick Dry and add that in there. And I do the exact same thing to the bottom. However, I use a piece of scrap paper that I had in my stash that coordinated well. That piece there is 7 by 1.5, I believe. And the bottom piece that I use is 7 by 3. I do have detailed photos coming up, so if you have any questions, please leave me a comment, and thanks so much for stopping by.